Hello, welcome to these tutorials on programming computational fluid dynamics. My name is Saurabh. Okay, so today we'll start with the coding. So this interface which you see here is the NetBeans interface. We'll be using this for our programming. To install NetBeans, it is pretty straightforward. You just go to Google, type JDK, and then click on the first link that you get here. Then it's good to install NetBeans with JDK. You can also install JDK separately and then again install NetBeans separately. That is also one possibility, but you can just go to this link here and then click on NetBeans with JDK. Then you accept the license. Then you can click on these links, any of these links based on your operating system. For Windows it should be pretty straightforward. Double clicking this should start the installer, and in other cases also it is simple also. I don't know how to install it in Mac, but it should be straightforward, I guess. Okay, so let's start with the actual coding now. We start by creating a project. Herein I'll select Java application, I'll click on next. Then I will name this project as CFD solver. Well, I'm naming it structured because we will be in future doing unstructured. We will be writing our unstructured solver as well. So let us name it structured. We will change the location to, I thought I had created a folder here. That's strange. Sorry. Yeah, that's not here. Let us save it in code. Okay, so once you have done this project location, and once I have selected this project location, everything else looks fine. Let us keep all the other defaults. Maybe we can rename this as main. So it will create a package called main. Basically it will create a folder called main, and it will put this this particular file inside that. Okay, so let me click finish. Once we are done with this, it will create a new project. It should not take that much time. Normally it does not take that much time. I think it's because my screen recorder is on, it's taking up so much time. Normally this is the first time that I have just started NetBeans, and this is how it looks when you install NetBeans and start the project for the first time. This particular screen where we actually write our code is normally shrunk a little bit because of this extra things here. So you can reduce this if you want to, but what I like to do is I like to double click on this so that it goes to full screen, or it takes up more space. Then if you want to go to other things, you just hover your mouse over this buttons here and it will show up those things. Okay, so let us remove this unwanted stuff from here. So we don't need this. So just comments which NetBeans has put in for us. Okay, so this is the main method. This is the starting point of our program. Okay, when we click on run here, this is the first thing which will run. For example, NetBeans has got a lot of shortcuts. So if I type S out and press tabs, it will automatically write some functions, write some methods for us. So let me say test, and if I run, so this will be the first line to run in our program. So now since I'm running it for the first time, it's taking a little bit of time for compilation. It will create all those folders and all. Finally it will print out this text here, this test which I have written. Okay, so we have our main function setup. Actually NetBeans did it for us automatically. Let us now create our first file. So let us create our config class, the one which we talked about during our previous video. Well, if you have not gone through the previous videos, I'll suggest you to go through at least 2 or 3 of the previous videos. The introduction to finite volume methods, that is what you should go through. Then you should also go through the algorithm video, and if possible you should also go through the video wherein I explain about this config class and all. I'm not sure, I think it's the finite volume video itself. So at least 2 videos you should go through, the finite volume video and the video on algorithm. Okay, so that should set you up for this programming part as well. Otherwise it might be a little difficult to understand what I'm doing. So let us create the config class. This is the class wherein we will be storing all our parameters which will be used for controlling our code. So all the constants will be put in here, not all the constants but most of the constants will be put in this config file, especially the ones which will control the flow of the code. Okay, so let us click on finish, and NetBeans will create this file for us. This is another Java file. So this class here called config will be holding all the parameters, as I said. So let us see. So everything here will be public, static, final. Okay, since we are not going to change, these are constants, so it's going to be final. Then let us have number of X cells. Let me say at the beginning number of X cells is 100. Okay, yeah, obviously it is going to be an integer. Then public static final int number of ghost cells is equal to, let me say, 3. Well, why do we need so many ghost cells? We will talk about. Actually, for high order reconstructions we will need more number of ghost cells. Then we will also need to define the number of RK steps. Number of RK steps, let me say 1 as of now. We'll be using simple Euler time stepping at the beginning. Then we will increase this number of steps so that we can tackle higher order methods. The number of ghost cells do not matter. We can have this as many as we want, but just we will optimize it to 3. Okay, then we will need the stopping time, which will be a double. So let me say 2. This is going to be in seconds. So we will keep all our units in SI unit. Then we will have max time iterations, which is going to be an integer again. So we'll have max time iterations, let's make it a big number. Okay, and yeah, there are two more things: public static final double max x. This is the right side of the domain, and we'll also have let us put min x first, min x, and let me copy this. Let me say min x is -1 and max x is 1. Okay, so we are done with our config class. The other class that I'm going to define today is the cell class, which is also a very important class. So this is going to control the flow, and the other class which we are going to define is the cell, which is going to save our most of the data. So let us not put the cell class inside main. Okay, since this is just a beginning, let us put it here. In future we will try to bifurcate the classes based on which is an appropriate package for it. So like for example, I'll introduce lot of packages, or you can say folders, which will save particular classes. Like I will be saving say flux, and then I'll have a geometry class which will be saving all the geometry entities, geometry package which will be saving all the geometry entities, and so on and so forth. So let us create cell class. Now as of now we will save it in main package itself, and everything else looks good. So let me click on finish. Let me remove all this unwanted stuff. Okay, so this is going to have first of all it will save the variables. So let me create those variables. So I'll have a array, it will be public again, double array. I'll name it as u, and the size of that is going to be equal to config dot number of RK steps plus 1. Okay, as we discussed about this, why should this be plus 1? It's actually the values which will be stored at all the intermediate RK steps, right, for each cell. So that is why this is going to be an array. Then the cell will also have to save the reconstructed values. So public double so let me name it as u east. The left hand side will be called u west, so let me say west u east. Okay, so this is done. The next thing that we have to do is we have to save the centroid values. So let me, well, in this case actually centroid is not required. We don't need to save centroid, but we need to save dx. However, just to keep it consistent, when we go to unstructured mesh, or when we go to even two-dimensional structured mesh, we may need this cx. So let us save this. Also dx, we truly speaking need not save for each cell. if we keep dx constant, but just let us make our program a little bit versatile and save dx inside each cell. Since we are going to, this program is just one dimensional, it will not cost us a lot when we save a lot of variables. It will, from the memory point of view, it's going to be very cheap, so it doesn't matter. Even in case of 2D structured mesh, we will also save this dx and dy and so on and so forth, which will also be pretty cheap. We need not worry much about memory at this point of time. Okay, finally, well, this is all I wanted to discuss today. So let me save this into Git. So to do that, just right click here, go to versioning and click on initialize Git repository. Then it is asking for a root path. Where do we want to create our Git repository? You can change this if you want to, but I'll save it in the same path where my code is saved. So I'll click on OK. Once this is done, if you go to this folder, that is where this is saved, you cannot see anything now. But if you look at this, you will see that this hidden folder is created. I've just see, this is normally not visible, but if you make the hidden things visible, you will see that this extra folder is created, inside which you will have all the versions of your code being saved. So that is what it has done just now. Now yeah, obviously we have just created a repository. We have to commit all our changes into that. First of all, we'll have to add it. I think here it will automatically be done. So if I click on commit, it will show me the things which will be added. Let it add all the things. I don't mind. It's saving all the properties of the project. Our two files which we created just now are config.java, cell.java, and this is the third file which we created, that is the main class wherein our execution will start from. So we have created this three files. So let us put a commit message. So let me write initial commit. So created config and cell class. Okay, so this is a helpful message. It should allow us to quickly navigate to whichever required version of our software in future. So this message will help us that time. And then just click on commit here. It should save our work. Okay. So once this is saved, you will see that this everything is clear here. What I mean to say is, if you make any changes, first of all, this here will change its color. You see, this is blue. That means this particular file has been changed after it has been committed. If I undo again, you will see that it turns back to black. Another thing, it should change to black actually. I don't know why it is blue. Yeah, there it has turned to black. So that means there are no changes that we have made after we have made our last commit. Also, if you see, yeah, this has turned to blue. Also, another thing you will see is this small icons which are put here, which will also tell you that something has been changed in the project and has not been put into Git. So there are a lot of helpful features like this available in NetBeans, which will help us to keep track of a lot of things. Also, it will help us in writing a better code. So I'll stop here for today, and see you soon. Bye bye.